What's up, y'all? It's Sunday. I hope everybody out there is happy and healthy. So let's go ahead and get down. And I want to discuss this situation dealing with Jasmine Crockett because, as we all know, she lost to James Talarico. And it has started a big discussion all over social media. A lot of people from both sides of the aisle, in between, they're pointing out reasons why Jasmine Crockett potentially lost this battle to James Talarico. Of course, the first citing is that she was too ghetto. A lot of people said that she accepted money from AIPAC, but Jasmine Crockett has came out and religiously denied that. We do know that James Talarico campaign was funded by a top Trump donor by the name of Miriam Adelson, and that alone raised a lot of eyebrows within the Democratic Party, like, why are you taking money from one of Trump's top donors? But a lot of people said that Jasmine was too focused on taking out Trump and that she was pulling the race card too much, and basically that's what sullied her campaign. Now, a lot of people feel that James Talarico is an undercover Republican, and this is why people are willing to support him from the Republican side of the aisle based off of the things that they probably know of him behind the scenes, because trust and believe me, there are no Republicans that are going to come out and fund a full-fledged liberal or Democrat, so to speak, right? So is that a good thing because he's able to get donations from the other side of the aisle? Does that show progression moving forward in the state of Texas? Well, a lot of people seem to think so because they feel that there are certain Republicans that are getting sick of this whole MAGA movement themselves. And so given the fact that James Talarico is able to put a message out there that really has the other side listening to, is game changing and could flip the state of Texas blue. Now, there was some data that recently came out that shows that it was the Latino vote that actually pushed James Talarico over the edge to beat Jasmine Crockett, and a lot of people within the melanated community are upset about this. They feel like, once again, with all these things happening out here with ICE and things of that nature, y'all still went in the booth and did not vote for a black woman. But a lot of people have the same argument, stating like, well, what's the issue? They voted for a Democrat. Jasmine was running for a Democratic Senate seat, right? So there's just a lot of going back and forth on this issue. But anyway, what I'm going to do right here is insert this clip of Gary Chambers actually talking about what happened to Jasmine Crockett and why she ultimately lost, and then I'll be back.
I'm going to show you how James Talarico won the Texas primary in 6 counties, and then I'm going to show you how Jasmine Crockett lost the Texas primary in 5 counties. Talarico wins by 144,000 votes. Remember that number. James Talarico picked up the majority of his lead in Austin in Travis County, where he got a 112,000 vote lead on Jasmine Crockett because he won by 163,000 votes to 51,000 votes. Austin is 8% black. Then in Williamson, which is also about 8% black, Talarico picks up 28,000 vote lead over Crockett, where he gets 46,000 votes to her 18,000. In El Paso, majority Hispanic, he picks up another 17,000 votes. In Hidalgo, which is also majority Hispanic, he picks up another 23,000 vote lead, 41,000 to 18,000. Crockett gets about 30% of the Hispanic vote. In Hayes County, he's got a 15,000 vote lead, 24,000 to 8,000. And in Webb County, he gets a 15,000 to 7,500 votes, which gives him a 7,000 vote lead. In Dallas County, Texas, where Representative Crockett is from, she beats Talarico 163,000 to 110,000. She has a 52,000 vote lead. There are 500,000 black people in Dallas County. In Fort Bend County, Representative Crockett gets 51,000 votes to Talarico's 30,000 votes. She beats him by 20,000. There's 180,000 people that are black in Fort Bend County. In Harris County, Texas, which has 1 million black people, Representative Crockett wins 189,000 to 170,000. She beats Telerico by 19,000 votes in Harris County, Texas. In Tarrant County, Texas, Representative Crockett wins 103,000 to 82,000. She beats him by 20,000 votes. There are 400,000 black people in Tarrant County, Texas. In Jefferson County, Texas, which is where Beaumont is, Representative Crockett beats Telerico 14,000 to 3,069, 11,226 vote lead over Telerico. There are 85,000 black people in Jefferson County. What are you saying, Gary? People talk about a whole of Texas strategy, and because Telerico won all of these areas, it is a logic that he did so well. The truth is he won by 144,000 votes. A lot of these counties, some of them have 100 plus votes, 500 votes, 700 votes. The majority of the people who decided this election were in Austin and the surrounding areas, and in Dallas and Houston and the surrounding areas. And that's how these elections always fall in Texas. That James Talarico ran up the score in the whitest area of Texas on Jasmine Crockett, while the million black people that live in Harris County, a bunch of y'all just said, fuck it. Now his strategy, I do not deny, was white voters and Hispanic voters, and the lead came from Austin. Not against James Talarico. I think he's a good candidate. I'm not ignoring that he had strong messaging. I also understand his strategy. Chuck Rocha, who helped him develop his strategy, worked for me when I ran for the U.S. Senate in 2022. So I understand the logic. I am telling you that the general is not one with that logic, because black voter turnout has to increase drastically in order for Texas to flip blue. I am trying to tell black people something though. Why is it enough for us that 189,000 people voted for Jasmine Crockett in Harris County when there's 1 million black people in Harris County? Especially when we know that Representative Crockett was getting over 90% of the black vote. I want black people to recognize that elections are about turnout and tribes. People pick their tribes, they turn out their tribes to get to the general. And what happens is the people who get their tribe there, they make the other tribes join them. So black voters are always having to come and join white voters and Hispanic voters, because we don't maximize where we got 500,000 black people, 180,000 black people in Fort Bend County, and only 51,000 votes for Jasmine Crockett in Fort Bend County. Telerico turned out who would turn out for him. Because if you take out Travis County, Williamson County, and Hayes County, all about 8% black, Telerico doesn't get there. Because his 140,000 vote win starts in Travis County. Black people, we got to start and finish with who starts and finishes with us. And at the end, when the general comes, the conversation in Texas is always where the black voters in Houston, in Dallas, and the surrounding areas, because these elections have come down to 40,000 votes. Now, this may not matter to you, but it does to me. In the history of America, there have only been 12 black people to serve in the U.S. Senate. 5 of them currently serve. 1 of them is a Republican who could give a shit about what the majority of black people in America want. So for me, considering that 80 to 85 white people get elected to the U.S. Senate every term, I'm always pushing for a black person to be able to get to the furthest distance possible to help advance more black people in this country. And I live in Louisiana, next door to Texas in the Deep South. A lot of that shit y'all talk about in the progressive movement, you don't even come down here in the South to try and make sure that these things get fixed in the areas that it's the worst in. James Talarico's strategy may have worked for this Democratic primary, but he's gonna have to get black voters in Harris County and Dallas County the same way anybody else is gonna have to in order to become a Democrat to win in Texas. At some point, we're gonna have to make black people and black priorities a higher priority to get higher turnout in black communities. In God we trust, everybody else bring data. As always, do good, seek justice, keep pushing.
All right, so y'all heard what my boy Gary had to say about the situation. Now, like I said, there's a lot of conversation where people are pointing the finger at the Latino community because they showed up in astronomical numbers to vote for Telerico. But when you break everything down in its totality, we really don't have nobody to blame but the black people within the Harris County area. They didn't show up to vote. In other surrounding areas, there was a lot of people, a lot of black people that were reluctant, or for whatever reason, they couldn't get out and vote. Now, I will say that there's speculation that there was some confusion at Dallas polls that caused a lot of voters to be turned away as well. So there was some friction going on there where people were just confused because of the new guidelines of voting. There's also conspiracy theories out there that there were a lot of ballots that weren't counted. Jasmine Crockett feels like she was cheated as well. Now, with Telerico winning, there's a lot of people that are on the left that are saying that, oh, we don't care. You know, this was pure misogyny and racism based off of the fact of why Jasmine didn't win. So we're not voting for Telerico either. And so as for now, I guess the notion of voting blue, no matter who, has been thrown completely out the window because a lot of black people are saying they're not going. They're not going to the polls come November. They're not voting Telerico, and Telerico needs the black vote to win. He really does. But anyway, I'm gonna let this go right here. I wanna know what you guys think in the comments. Drop down and let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, go ahead and share this video. And if you're new here, consider subbing to the channel. I'll check you guys out later. Have a beautiful Sunday.